Okay, everybody, so we're going to get started with day one of our class. And the first unit of the 63-hour course is a general overview of the real estate business. Okay, so remember, what we want to look at is in this unit going into it, how many questions do we have that we have to prepare for our examination, right? So we want to come back over and I'm going to pull this up and I'll keep it with us so we can keep going. We can keep referencing. There we go. So remember, in section 1 of this unit, there's one question. 1% of the test will be coming from this, okay? Okay. So real estate professionals, they're going to possess expert information. That's what the license is for. Okay, so that's what makes the real estate professional different than the general public. They possess expert information. Okay, now there's 3 areas of expert information that relate to a real estate license. And that's going to be the knowledge of property transfer. That's how property goes from one party to the other in a sale, contract, deed, all that. The knowledge of market conditions. Like right now, the market conditions that we're in are unprecedented. We got really weird things going on. And it's very hard to know what's going on in the market. And you also have knowledge of how to market real estate and businesses. So selling real estate and selling businesses. It's knowledge how to do that. You know, when it comes to market conditions, I'm going to show you quickly. You know, this is something that I'm dealing with right now on a couple of properties in Lauderdale by the Sea. I'll pull these up real quick. Oh, here's just I'll pull Fort Lauderdale up. It's easier. Okay, so Fort Lauderdale's right here. So this is something I'm working on down there. And then these are our market conditions. I mean, you look from, let's just look at condos here, the bottom box. Okay. You know, like this is last year. This is this year. So last year, this time of year, 30% more homes sold in condos. Okay. 30% in single family too. Okay. The median price is about the same. It's a little bit less, actually, 10 grand less, right? So prices start to come down. Okay. The average price in 22 in August was 853. This year it's 700. So the prices have come down 17%. Now you don't hear that on the news, right? You don't hear that in public. They're all talking about, oh, you can't find a house. It's 100,000 too much. Well, here's the numbers. Numbers don't lie. People do, right? So this is facts. Now, this time last year, okay, $1.305 billion sold. This time this year, 750 million. That's 42% less in sales. That's a big number. And this is Fort Lauderdale. This is a good market. This is the market that hasn't fallen out yet, right? So you look at this stuff, pending sales are down 20%. New listings are actually down in Fort Lauderdale. They're up over general, but in Fort Lauderdale. But this is market knowledge. You need to be able to talk to people about this. So this is stuff you need to know. Now, if you look here, here's Fort Lauderdale's numbers. Here is just regular numbers for all the MLS. Now look at this. I mean, they were going up, jumped up. But look at halfway through last year. They came out, they jumped down. They paused the rates. Rates stopped, they went up. Now they paused the rates again, but look, the mortgage rate's going to be up over 9% soon. Look how it's falling off a cliff. So the next couple of months, I believe this isn't going to come back up. I mean, have you ever seen, look at that angle down. See that angle? Did you ever see an angle like that anywhere except right here in that little bit? But even here, it's not as steep. You see how that dropped? So these are things in market conditions you need to understand. And you'll learn this as you go. Once you join an MLS with your broker, you have all this information. But this is what people depend on. And what you hear in the news and what you hear on YouTube and all these people that act like they know, you know, facts are facts, right? Doesn't change. That's an example, okay? So that's market conditions. So let's talk about a real estate brokerage. Okay. Real estate brokerage is the business of bringing together buyers and sellers, owners and renters, and completing real estate transactions from contracts to closing. Okay, that's what a brokerage is. You're putting everybody together. You're brokering the deal. Real estate professionals usually specialize in the type of services they provide and the type of real estate they handle. So you'll see some agents are first-time home buyer agents, some agents are listing agents, some agents are buyer's agents, some handle commercial only, some handle residential. Most agents, the majority, specialize in something. Now you have sales and leasing. This is one angle. So you have real estate license related activities are performed under the authority of a broker. Okay, so a real estate agent with a license cannot work unless they're affiliated with a broker. If a real estate agent has a license and works without a broker, it's illegal. It's like working without a license. And that is a class 3 felony, punishable by 5 years, up to 5 years, and a $5,000 penalty. So it's a class 3 felony to practice real estate without a license. Need to know that for sure. And it requires expert knowledge that the average person may not possess. And that knowledge is the laws we're going to learn, the transactions, the numbers, the process, the contracts. The average public does not understand how that works. And it's our job to teach them that. So there's sales specialties. You want to know these. You could see something on these. There's 5 major sales specialties. Okay. You have residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, and business. So residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, and business. Okay, so let's talk about businesses first. So business brokers are licensees who engage in the sale, purchase, or lease of businesses. The presumption in Florida law that businesses involve real property. So either with land or with physical improvements or a long-term lease. So when you sell a business, let's say it's a pizza shop, and let's say the owner owns the building and the pizza shop. You buy it, the land and the business and the improvements and the equipment, it all comes with it, right? That's one way. But let's say you buy a pizza shop, but the owner of the pizza shop doesn't own the building. He leased it for 20 years. That long-term, like if you buy the pizza shop, you got to take over the lease. So real estate, when it comes to businesses, that long-term lease is considered real property on a business transaction. And now you have to have an active current real estate license to sell or lease businesses. So you need an active license to sell real estate, residential, and also commercial. You may see a trick question. They ask you if you need a commercial license or a special license to sell commercial. No. There's only one type of real estate license, and that real estate license is good for selling commercial, residential. Now, your broker may not do commercial, and they may have a rule where they don't sell commercial. So in that case, you wouldn't sell commercial, depending on who you work for. And also some don't sell residential. Like Collier's is business only, right? So it just depends on who you work for. But the law states an active license is one license. And that license is used for business, commercial, residential, everything. Industrial, agriculture, everything. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You may see a trick question. I had a question on it on my instructor exam, because I took the sales license, the broker, and the instructor. And I'm always proud to say I passed them all the first time, which is cool. But the thing is, I've had questions like that where they'll ask, "Oh, you're doing this. Did she need a commercial license? Did she need a some kind of," like they'll try to trick you, and it's just a regular real estate license. Okay. Now let's talk about target marketing. Okay. I want to go back real quick though. The specialties here. Let me just explain these to you. Residential. Okay. Residential is 4 units or under. So if it's 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit, it's residential. Commercial is 5 units or more, or business use. Industrial is warehousing, things like that. That's like Amazon warehouse, stuff like that. Agriculture is farmland. And businesses are what I just explained to you. It's a business with property or with a long-term lease. Okay. So let's talk about a target market. Okay, so when you're in the real estate, remember we're talking about the real estate business, the umbrella of a real estate business, and it's giving you exactly what each section is. So under the umbrella of real estate, there's a target market. Okay, and what a target market is when you pick a market you want to deal in. Like I just showed you that stat for Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale's, I mean, I deal in the whole state of Florida. I have stats for everything. But most agents will pick an area. I work in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, right? I work in Jacksonville. I work in, St. Augustine. Some agents just work in an area. Okay. So that would be your target market. And that will involve expertise in locating prospects. So the key to the real estate business is generating prospects. It's a sales business that people, they think it's like TV. You get a license, they're going to knock on your door, have a $10 million house to sell. Doesn't happen like that. You have to get in there, and it's a sales business. And I'll talk to you guys more about that later. So you have to locate prospects. So how do you locate prospects? There's a million ways, and people try to sell you stuff every day how to locate prospects. Half of it, well, more than half of it's garbage. It's a very simple process, 23 steps to do real estate. And you have to focus and you do the work, and you'll start generating business little by little. Okay, so many licensees will specialize in a particular type of real estate. Somebody will deal residential first-time buyers. Somebody may deal just in commercial leasing. It just depends on where your desire is to be and what you enjoy to do, right? Some people just do rentals. I know people who run around and do 30 rentals a month. And the thing is, when you're selling real estate, you can go sell 1 or 2 deals and make the same money you do in 30 rentals. And when you do rentals, the paperwork's the same. So it's a lot of work, right? But it's just a different aspect. Some people love that. Some people love property management. Some people, just want to list. Some people want to do just buyers, right? So you have to have a strong database of potential customers. Okay. A database will include demographic, financial, and lifestyle characteristics of your potential consumers. Then you also have something called a farm area. Okay. Licensees often become an expert in a specific portion of a city called a farm area. So a method of target marketing called farming. Okay, farm area includes information on each lot, house, and business in the area. So if you say you want to work Fort Lauderdale, from Bayside to the beach, right? You can pick that whole area. You can start sending postcards. You can hold events. You can invite people. That's called farming. A way of farming that I do, I'll give you an example. These are 2 properties we just listed. Hold on a second here. So here, for example, this is a house I just listed in Jacksonville, and this one is a house I just listed in in the Villages down in Orlando. So for example, the house in Jacksonville, what I do is I take the house and I get the 300 houses around it. Okay. And I call these people, like there's do not call, so you can't call them, right? They're on the do not call list. We'll talk more about that later. But these aren't. Call them. Hi, my name's Phil. Obviously, we haven't met yet. The reason I'm calling you is we just listed a home for sale in your neighborhood. And I wanted to share the information with you. Could I have your email? I'll send you a whole report on the house. Maybe somebody wants to move to the neighborhood, or maybe you're just, curious of what it is. Boom. Okay. Would you like me to send a report to you for your house as well, just so you know what it's worth? You know what I mean? Like that's the conversation. And then you talk to 300 people. How many of them might want to sell or know somebody wants to buy one, right? That's a way of farming. That's a way of generating business. I mean, I have 58 pages of information here and people to call just on this one, and then we have one over in back, the one in St. August, or I keep saying St. Augustine, the one over in the Villages. And then here, another 66 pages, 66 pages of people to call. Some are do not call, but right there they are. That's another way to drum up business. Once you have a listing, right? Now you're going, because when somebody lists a property, usually 2 or 3 more go on the market. It'd be nice to get those, right? So you want to build your reputation and deal with people. Everybody clear on that? That's a type of farming.
Yep.
Yep. Good. Leah, good. Any questions?
I was going to ask, okay, so that list of people and potential customers in that area,
Right.
where do you get access to that from?
I have services. Like, for example, I'll send you a video of all the things we do for like our agents so you can see what's there. I'll
Mhm.
send you an example. It's like an 18-minute video, explains everything. Like how
Okay.
to, I've been in this business for 25 years and I've probably used maybe 25, 30 different services over the years.
Mhm.
So I've narrowed the services down that we use to 7. And
Okay.
then 7 services are the packages we have as agents. And
Mhm.
it gives us all the leads. It gives us all the sellers that are coming on the market, off the market. I have a whole video that explains it. So what I'll do
Okay.
is I'll actually, if you go to our website, the brokerage, and go under career, it's in there. I'll show you guys what I'll do is before we end today, I want to show you guys the study guide, how to use it and how to go over today's lessons.
Mhm.
I also I'll show you, I'll pull it up on the screen and show you the website. So you can go
Okay.
in, you can watch the video, you can see the services. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing and advertising and services. And over the years, I've narrowed them down to 7, and they're the 7 that work for me. And
Okay.
they're the 7 I use when I'm training my agents. See, we have an apprenticeship program, and I actually work with the agents. So when I hire agents new, most brokers will bring you in, sign you up, send you out. When I got into real estate, no one helped me. And it took me a little bit. It took me about 6 months. I took all the courses, classes, learned all the systems, and then I started doing well. But it
Mhm.
took me 3 to 6 months to really learn everything. Now I own restaurants, I own bars, I was in other businesses. So I'm kind of like, I have like the entrepreneurial mindset. A lot of people fail in real estate because they don't do that.
Mhm.
You go to a job, you punch in, you have a list of things to do, you punch out, right? Real estate's not that. You're the boss. So
Mhm.
you have to have a system that tells you punch in, what should I do? Punch out. And you have to hold yourself accountable. So what I do is I created a 23-step program where I teach them the first 3 steps, which is the hardest, procuring a client. Once they have the client, I go on Zoom, we close the deal together, and I walk them through from the beginning, and I help them with the contracts all the way through the first 2, 3 transactions. And then once they're comfortable, I sit in with them and I let them do it. If I see them slip up, then I come in and help them.
Okay.
And then what happens is after you do 2, 3, 4 of those, you're good. Because it's like riding a bicycle. A listing agreement's 4 pages, a contract's 13 pages. There's a bunch of addendum. The forms are the same. The people change and the numbers change and the addresses change, right? That's all. It's the same forms, but you have to be able to communicate with people differently. And in my trainings, I have videos of Zoom meeting people, closing the deal. I use that in all my training. And then every Monday, we have an accountability meeting. They set their goals for the week, and then we go over them the next week. Every month, like we have a whole thing, and I'm working with them all the time. And on the first 2, 3, 4 deals, we work on them together. I list them. I put them as the co-agent. I showed them how to put it in the MLS. I showed them how to market it. We do the showings together, everything. So literally, I work the whole deal with them. A lot of it I do through Zoom with them because I can't be everywhere. Like
Right.
they'll bring me in on the phone, but it's still just as good as being there. But yeah, so that's the system. So that's all in that. When you see the video, you'll see all that there, how we do all that stuff. But does that help you understand it? Because
It does.
a lot of people get thrown out there and they get. I have agents come to me, they're about to quit. You know, like one of my agents, she just got her license, and it took 15 days. She got her first listing, 410,000 with me. She never did real estate before.
Yeah.
And then this crazy story, they're moving to Tennessee. So the people were moving to Tennessee, and they had 2 agents that messed their deals up. So I actually went and got my license in Tennessee. I put a house under contract in Tennessee before we sold theirs here.
Oh, wow.
We're
Okay.
licensed in Tennessee, North Carolina. So I literally went to another state, got licensed, never been there, got the house
Mhm.
under contract for them. It's an example of like
Right.
how, like I've done this all my life. I can go anywhere and do it without even being there. And it's just a system. And once you got that system down, you can take that and do whatever you want with it. You
Mhm.
can tweak it, you can change it, but learn it, and that's what gets you going.
Right.
So does that help you a little bit with the
Yes.
okay, good. Okay, so now let's look at follow-up. Big part of the business. Everything comes from follow-up. Very rarely will you make a call, talk to somebody, and get a deal. You usually got to talk to them 2 or 3 times, send them reports, do different things. You know, there's a whole system to it. In my career, maybe 5 times, one call, close. You know, literally 5 times maybe. I've had people hang up on me, and I have a video I'll share with you guys later. They hung up on me. I called the guy back, talked to him a couple of times. He called me 3 weeks later to list his house. It was a $689,000 condo on the beach. And this was like 15 years ago. It's probably worth like $1.5 million, $2 million now. But I have a video. He was on a radio show we did, and he's talking about what I did for him and how he hung up on me and how we became friends. And I've met more people through him and done so much business through him. It's crazy. And a lot of the people we do business with end up being friends because it's a relationship. It's not like, you know, most of these people go out there, list a house, you don't see him again. I don't do business like that. And it's like, you gotta follow up and communication. This is one of the biggest parts of the business here. So, you know, what a sales associate does for the buyers or the seller after the transaction is concluded. So that's follow-up, relationships, keeping in touch with people. Okay, so this results in good reputation, referrals, and word of mouth advertising, which is the best advertising you can get. Now, there's also a property management arm of real estate. So property management is a professional service to maintain and manage property on behalf of property owners. Okay, the scope of the work is detailed in the management agreement. So a lot of times property managers run the whole show. They clean the place, they keep the place fresh, they maintain maintenance, they run the whole show for the owners. Okay. And that agreement between the property management company is what tells them what they do and don't do. So this will involve leasing, managing, marketing, and maintenance of property. That's called property management. Now you have a property manager. Okay, that's a local representative of the property owner. They're responsible for maintaining the property and managing the expenses, all the bills and everything for the property. And they have one goal. The manager's goal is to protect the owner's investment and maximize the owner's returns on the investment. That's their goal. Keep the cost as low as possible and keep all the apartments full. Okay. Now you could be a rental agent or a property manager. So there's a difference, big difference. Okay. Property management is more involved than being a rental agent. Okay. A rental agent simply lists a rental or has a renter to get a rental. They put the deal together, they collect a fee, and they walk away. That's it. They don't do anything else. Okay, rental or leasing agents act as intermediaries between a potential tenant and the owner seeking to acquire a tenant. You're just putting that deal together, you know, getting paid and walking away. Property management continues to manage the property once the tenant's secured. They're going to collect the rent. They're going to fix the pipes. Whatever the problems are, right? The stove don't work. Like, they're managing the property. So rental agent just does the deal, gets paid, walked away. Okay. Property manager actually collects payments, does everything. Okay. You guys good on the difference?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's talk about the need for property management. Okay. So absentee ownership has increased the demand for property management services. There's a lot of companies that own buildings now. There's a lot of individuals that own buildings and don't live in state, right? They're out of state. So they can't manage the property. The toilet breaks. How are they going to manage that property? Right? They can't. They're in Minnesota and the house is in Florida, right? So a lot of times they'll hire a property management company to handle the property. They collect the rent, they do everything for a fee. And then that way it's all done, right? They'll put the tenants in. When somebody's moving out, they handle getting a new tenant. They do everything for the owner. Okay. Agents of absentee owners are responsible for rent collection, tenant relations, advertising the property when there's empty units, and merchandising the space. You know, like if it's furnished or whatever it is. So let's talk about compensation and licensure. Okay. Okay, how the property manager is paid determines if the manager must be licensed. There is a way you could be a property manager and not be licensed. And I'm going to go over that with you guys now. Okay. Property managers who are paid commission or on a transactional basis must be licensed to be as an active real estate agent or broker. Or actually you got to be a broker, but you got to have agents do the work. So to be a property manager, you cannot be a sales agent. A sales agent is not allowed to be. The agreement has to be with the broker. Okay. So people do it all the time. They get in trouble, they lose their license, they get fined because they're doing things outside the scope of the law, which we'll talk about later. So the broker can be the property manager. Okay. Now, a broker's license is not required if the manager's paid a salary. So if there's somebody who owns a 50 unit building and they say, look, you come in here, I'm going to pay you $75,000 a year. There's no commission, no bonuses, nothing. I'm going to pay you $75,000 a year. You're going to manage this property for me. You don't need a license for that. If you're getting $20,000 a year and 5% commission, or you get bonuses for every unit, you need a license. You must know that for the test. You must know that concept. So if your salary and no bonuses, no commissions, you do not need a license. If you're getting commissions and bonuses, if your salary or not, anytime commissions and bonuses like that are in, you need a license. And you must know sales associates cannot work independently as property managers. You have to be a broker. Okay. Now let's talk about community association managers. This is called a CAM license. A CAM license you can get without a sales license and without a broker's license. It's a separate license. And a CAM license, you need to know this as well. A CAM license is required for salaried manager of associations with more than 10 units or an annual budget in excess of 100,000. So if you're managing a property with 9 units and the budget is $90,000, you don't need a license unless they require it of you. But the minute it's 10 units or the budget is over $100,000, you need a CAM license. I don't have a CAM license. I have broker's license. I have instructor license. I have school license. I have broker's license. If I wanted to be a CAM manager for a unit like this, I'd have to go get the CAM license. Now, remember, same as a property manager. If you're getting a salary, you don't need a license. However, there's an exception. 10 units, $100,000. Make sense? So if there's 10 units in the building, or the budget to operate it is more than $100,000 a year, you need a license. If you're paid a salary or not. If you're paid a salary and there's under 10 units and it's under $100,000 a year budget, you do not need a license. Is that clear?
I have a
No.
question.
Go ahead.
So, so if the budget is more than 100,000, you do need a license. But what does it mean by the budget? Is it the budget for building?
That's the budget for the operation of the unit, of the building. Like a condo unit has a budget for the year
Oh, okay.
for all their expenses. They do a budget every year and they got to give that to all the people. That's part, like when you buy a unit, you get the budget, and we're going to explain that to you later.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
But okay, so when you're managing a condo unit, if you're a manager, right, of a condo unit, this is a job. They offer you a salary and it's under 10 units and it's not over $100,000 in the budget. You don't need a license legally. They may want you to have one, but you don't need one. If it's over 10 units and the budget is over 100,000, you do need a license.
Okay.
Okay. Is that clear, Leah?
Yes.
And a CAM license is separate from your sales license and broker license and instructor license and school license. It's separate. It's a whole separate. You can get a CAM license and have no other license. Okay. It's a whole separate license. Now, this applies to mobile home parks, homeowners associations, condo and cooperative associations, and timeshare associations. So if you manage any of those and it has more than 10 units or $100,000 budget, you need a license. which is most of them, right? What has less than 10 units, really?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Like you ever see those 2-story, like little motel type places with like 8 units?
Mhm.
That would be one of these that you don't need a license for, because that's not over 100. You know what I mean? But that's an example. Anything else, any big condo building, anything, you need a license, the license for that. Okay. So let's talk about the appraisal. Okay. There's the appraisal part of the business. The appraisal is the process of developing and communicating an estimate of the property's value. Appraisals are requested for many reasons. When you're getting a mortgage, they need to know what it's worth. Property tax assessment, the property tax, they need to know what it's worth to assess taxes. Insurance adjusting and investment. So if you're buying investment properties, you need to know what the appraisals are, right? So let's talk about valuation and the real estate licensees. Okay, licensees may appraise real property for compensations with certain exceptions. Okay. They cannot represent themselves as a state certified or licensed appraiser. To be that, you have to be licensed for that. You can't say you're a state certified appraiser. You can't call yourself an appraiser. Okay. State certified or licensed appraisers required for appraisals involving federally related transactions. That's any mortgage loans that are guaranteed by the government. FHA, VA, conventional, right? So you have to have an appraiser license to do this. So you couldn't do an appraisal. Now, if it was a, private money loan or hard equity loan, yeah, anybody, an agent can do that. Anybody can do that type of thing. It wouldn't be called an appraisal though. Okay. Because you can't call it an appraisal. It won't be done on the appraisal forms. So let's look at this chart. There's something, the uniform standard professional and appraisers. I'm trying to think of the exact word for it. Hold on. It's in here. It's, the US PAP is the form. Okay. And I'll go over it with you in a minute. The US PAP is the form that an actual appraisal goes on. Okay. So an appraiser will put it on there. Okay. Now, there's also scenarios where you have to be a state certified or licensed appraiser, or it's required. Okay. So what must go on a US PAP form? Okay. An appraisal to originate a federally related mortgage loan, VA, FHA, conventional, anything like that. It must go on a form, and it must be a licensed certified appraiser. An appraisal that does not involve federally related transactions, private money loans, part equity loans, things like that, must go on a US PAP form, does not need to be done by a certified appraiser. Now, a broker's price opinion, a BPO. Okay. A BPO is done when like a hurricane comes through, an insurance company wants to make sure the house is okay. That's a broker's price opinion. It's not an appraisal. You can't call it an appraisal. That's when they'll send you out. They pay, you go out, you do it, you check comps, you do it, you send it in. They pay the broker a couple dollars. It's nothing extravagant, but also when people want to remove the PMI insurance off their mortgage, they want to get a value. So they'll send somebody out to get a broker price opinion, right? Brokers will sign up with these companies. These companies will assign a job. They go do them. That does not go on a US PAP form. A broker's price opinion goes on their software. Whatever company you're working with has software, and you would go in and perform it. You do not need to be a state licensed appraiser for that. A CMA. A CMA is what agents do every day to tell people what their property are worth. Okay. So when you're going to go list a property, or you have somebody who wants to buy a property, you're going to run a report. You'll do a comparative market analysis. So you know what to offer for it. So you know what to list it for. That's a CMA. It does not go on a US PAP form, and you do not need to be a licensed appraiser. The only time you need to be a licensed appraiser is if it's federally related, right? That's the key to remember. And only the appraisals will go on the PAP form. But if it's not federally, you don't need a license. BPO, CMA, you don't need. Okay. Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff.
So quick question. Could you give me an example of the second one? Those appraisal that does not involve federally
Yes.
regulated transaction?
Yep. So if I'm buying a house, and let's say it's it's an investment property, and it's 10 units, and it's based on the income from the property, not my income. It's a DSCR loan. They'll go, like, the lender who's going to do that, give me the money, they're going to go look at the house themselves. They're going to send their own people for their loan. That's not backed by the government. So they can do what they want. Now, whoever goes and looks at it has to put it on this form. They have to be an agent. They have to be licensed, but not an appraiser.
Gotcha. So
Okay,
it'll be
now this one here is if you go get an FHA loan or a VA loan, if you're in the military, or you get a conventional loan. And then I'm going to tell you guys what that all is in a little bit. A conventional loan is a loan that a bank gives you, and then they sell it to the government on the secondary market, right? That's conventional. Federally guaranteed. We have a whole section on that. Don't get too tied up with that right now. Okay. And BPO is not an appraisal at all. It's just giving a price value. And CMA is what you do for your clients when you're trying to give them, an idea what the house is worth. Okay. Right. So a CMA is like this here. Hold on. So here, like this one here. So here, this here's like a little CMA. See here? Here's the comps. There's a rough idea what the property's worth. Here's the property. Here's all the ones around it that close or on the market. And then it breaks them all down. See? That's like a little CMA. Make sense?
Yes.
yes.
Doesn't go on an appraisal form, right? Okay. Everybody clear on that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's look at value.
Hey, we're at our first break here.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Let's do this. So we'll come back at 11:02, guys. Or 11:03. It's 10:52. Let's come back at 11:03. I'll pause the recording and we'll start when we come back. Okay.
Before you both
Okay.
leave, USPAP is the Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice.
Okay.
Right here. I was trying to get to that screen and I went by it. It's the next one. So that's the actual name. Will you need to know that exact name? No, but just that's what it is, right? It's the USPAP form. That's what everybody calls it. So, okay, I'm gonna pause. Let's come back at 11:03.
Sounds great.
Okay, so the appraisers, the real estate brokers, and the associates must abide by the USPAP form. And the USPAP is a set guide of guidelines, standards, and practice to follow. So it's guidelines set up that they must follow to have the report complete. Let's talk about a CMA now. Let's go in details. So a comparative market analysis, the CMA. It's a marketing tool prepared for potential buyers or sellers to analyze recent sales of similar properties, currently offered for sale properties, and recently expired listings. See, you want currently sold so you know what they're selling for. You want ones that are on the market to see what they're asking for. And then you want ones that expired means they're overpriced. Right? So you know how to make an offer, right? Or you know how to sell it, right? That's what you want to look at. It may not be referred to or be represented as an appraisal. You cannot say it's an appraisal. It's a violation to do that. It does not have to comply with the USPAP. A fee may be charged. Okay. But if a fee is charged, that's to be paid to the broker, because a sales associate's compensation by law must come from the broker. So whatever money comes in has to go to the broker, and then the agent is paid their percentage out of it. Okay. So that's how that works. Nothing can be paid to the agent. Okay. Now, a comparative market analysis, it's very hard to get paid for that when you have all these things out there and other agents do it for free. But it could be charged. It's not illegal to charge, but it's hard to, because I mean, there's so many calculators out there, right? On today in the internet and things like that. Now, a broker's price opinion. It's a broker's written opinion of the value of real property, often requested by a lender for distressed property sales or by a relocation company, or if there's a hurricane or something, they want to check on the properties. So if somebody's going into foreclosure, they may want to make sure the house isn't beat up, it's in good condition. They'll do a BPO, right? Something like, or if they're getting the PMI insurance removed off the house. Okay, it may not be referred to or represented as an appraisal. BPO does not have to be on a US platform. The sales associate may complete a BPO for compensation. However, the sales associate must be supervised by the broker and the broker must sign off on it. So there's times I've done BPOs and agents, I can send an agent, they're going to pay me $150, say. So I'll send the agent go do the pictures and all the stuff, come back, right? And I'll take 25%, and I'll give the agent 75%. They'll do the paperwork, do everything. I'll look it over, make sure everything's right. If there's anything to fix, I'll fix it. I sign off on it. I send it. We get paid. The agent gets set. It depends on the deal. So usually it's 80-20 or 50-50. It depends on the deal, like whatever we're doing, right? So sometimes it's 75-25. It just depends on what the deal is. Because if they're doing all the work, right, and I'm just signing off and reviewing it, they got to go drive. They got to take pictures. They got to put the paper together. They got to upload the pictures. They're doing majority. It's not a lot of money, but you learn a lot about the business. You learn a lot about the community. You learn what's for sale. You learn the market by doing that. You're getting paid to do that if you want to do them. I haven't done many lately. I'm so busy with the school and the brokerage and everything and my own deals. I haven't done many of them. But you'll see, like after a hurricane, there'll be thousands of them that need to be done and nothing else is going on. So you do them, you make a bunch of money quick and just do a couple things, run around, bang them all out. And just depends. Okay. So remember, compensation, no matter what, has to be paid to the broker. When you do a rental, the compensation is paid to the broker and then the split is given, right? Whatever it is. Everything must go to the broker or it's a violation. You can lose your you will lose your license for that. And the broker has an issue too if that ever happens. Okay, let's talk about financing, how financing works under the umbrella of real estate. Okay, providing funds for real estate transactions is what financing is. There's commercial banks, savings associations, credit unions, and mortgage lenders. Okay. Mortgage loan originators work for mortgage lenders. When you're a mortgage loan originator and you work for a mortgage lender, there's a license required. It's the MLO, Mortgage Loan Originator license. And that's required to accept mortgage loan applications for compensation. So if you're taking a loan application and you work for a mortgage lender, you need an MLO license. Okay. When you work for a bank, savings, or credit union, you do not, because they're federal. They're basically federally regulated, and they have deposit accounts. Mortgage lenders only do mortgages, and they're not regulated by the government. So when you work there, you have to have a special license. Okay. That happened after the crash when all the bad loans, because these are the people who did those loans and they weren't licensed. So they created this for them. Counselors. Okay, they'll analyze existing or potential problems and provide advice. These are like credit counselors, things like that. They need to advise developers, investors, and large-scale buyers and sellers. So they're used to advise people. Development and construction. Okay, this is another arm. So development and construction is a whole separate entity of real estate. And you need to know these phases. Okay, there's 3 general phases to construction. You have land acquisition, subdividing and development. And subdividing and development is converting the land into smaller parcels, and development is improving the land so it can be used, and recording the plat map. So land acquisition means I'm going to go buy 30 acres, a 30-acre piece of land. Okay. Subdividing and development means I'm going to break it down into 30 parcels, and now I have 31-acre lots. Development means I'm putting the sewage and the plumbing and everything in, the streets, the curbs, the street lights, right? That's development. And then recording the plat map is what you do. You record that with the tax office, with the register of deeds at the county. Like you can go to any development right now and go look it up and look at the plat map. You can see all of that in a courthouse. Okay. So what's the plat map? Okay. Developers submit a plat map to local planning commissions. So they show them, okay, here's my land, here's what I want to do, and they submit it to the commission for approval. It's an engineer's plan for land use superimposed on a map of the land to be developed. It indicates proposed size and location of individual building lots, streets, and public utilities. And it's recorded in the public records. So it's a big map that lays out on the table. And there's like pages that go over top. So you'll see the land. You pull the first page over, it shows you all the markings for the split. Then it shows you all the markings for the streets, for the sewage, for the plumbing, for the water lines. There's different pages that go over on it. And it's like, it like lays on top of each other. And that map all gets recorded in the public records. Okay, so that's a plat map. Then there's something called dedication. You need to know this. Okay, when you have 30 acres and you're doing the street and you build everything out, you have the streets and the plumbing and all that, and the water lines and all that, and the sewage. Okay, most developments, the streets are the responsibility of the city, right? The plumbing, the water department, the city. So it's something called dedication. This is when the developer improves the raw land with paved streets, curbs, storm drains, plumbing, all that stuff. And typically the streets, the curbs, and other public areas, the parks, whatever, is dedicated to the local city or county. So they gift that land from the owner to the government for public use. So that's why when they pave the streets, they pay for that, right? If the public owns that, they do that. If they don't, that's when the development pays for all that. They have CDD fees and things like that. And we'll talk about that later. But dedication is the process of giving the part of the development to the city or the county, the streets, the street lights, the plumbing, all that. That's called dedication. You guys good on that?
Yes, I'm gonna stand up
Yes.
for 1 second.
Yep. Yeah, sure. That's fine. Okay. So that's dedication. Okay, so now we'll give her a second to come back. We're okay on time. You have any questions, Jeff?
No. I do find it very interesting, though. I did not know that's how that worked. The whole plat mat and dedication were things that I was
Yeah.
not aware of at all.
Yep.
Pretty
There's going to be a
interesting.
lot like that. It's really interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff, man.
Nice. Well, I'm in sponge mode right now,
Yeah.
which means that I'm just taking information in and just pretty happy that you're explaining it so great and so like down
That, well,
to
this is
the
why
simple terms.
everybody passes, because the way I show it, the way I lay it out, so you understand it, not just teach it. I explain it and then go through it. And the thing is, that's why I have you doing this now without learning the other stuff, because it's too much. You got to know this when you're talking. You got to know this for what you're going to do. So
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I also like the fact that the you in certain topics you would say, oh, this one you don't need to know the specifics of it, like with the USPS, I think is what it was.
yeah, yep.
US something like that. USPA, I think is what it was.
US pass.
But
Yep.
yeah, that one. But in other topics like dedications, you will make sure that you let us know that that's something that we need to know.
Yeah, like
Um,
dedication. You need to know that. You need to know that because I've seen that on one of my tests. Like, like
yeah.
I have the experience of it. So that's why I point things out, and
I
that's
like
why
that.
it's a summary too. Like when we're done today, I'm going to show you guys how to use that summary and everything for that too.
I love it. Love it.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about residential construction. Now we know how to plat map and all that works, right? Dedication. Let's talk about residential construction. Okay. There's three categories. There's speculative homes. Okay, this is when there's no pre-sale, they just build them. I'll explain the difference in a minute. Custom homes is under contract for one buyer. Tract homes. Okay, this is when a buyer sees a mobile home and chooses a floor plan to be built on an available lot. Okay. Okay, so speculative homes, okay, is when a developer has 3 or 4 model homes and they just start building them. They pick the colors, they pick the counters, everything. There's no sale. The people come in and say, oh, I like this model. Okay, well, we have 4 of them. Which one do you want? That's a spec home. Custom homes is when you own a piece of land. You have an architect design it. You get a builder, you build one home on one piece of land. Custom home. Tract home is when a buyer sees a model home. There's 3 or 4 of them. And the buyer goes in and says, oh, I want this model. And it's not being built until the contract's done. They get to pick the floor. They get to pick the countertop. They get to pick anything. Okay, so spec home is when no pre-sale. Tract home is the same thing, but pre-sale. Okay. So like right now, a year ago, Aiden, Espro's walking behind you on top of the wall. You guys see her walk across the, like, she's up top. Look at her. She walks on that wall up there. Anyway, that's Escrow the cat. She's a company mascot. So anyway, so a year ago, developers were putting homes up as fast as possible. People were coming and buying without even looking at them. Just whatever, right? So coming by, looking at them, just like that. Buying them, no question. Well, the market shifted. Rates are up now. They stopped because they don't want to put money in and build these houses until they're sold. That's how you can kind of remember that. Okay. All right. You guys good on spec homes, custom homes, tract homes?
I get them partially. I can understand the custom because those are the ones that most of the time, like in certain areas, that's kind of how it works. Whenever they're doing it just one by one and they're choosing the design as they go and all that stuff. The track home, there seems to be like those that they kind of it's like they make sure that they know everything that the client wants, and then after everything has been pretty much established, then they build it. But the spec home, that one I'm having a little bit of issues with.
That's when a developer has a development and they're building the houses to what they want, and then people just come buy them. They don't have a choice. So it's model A, B, C, but it's hardwood floors, not tile.
Got you. And the buying process would start after it's already built, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. This tract home doesn't start until it's bought, until the contract's done. Yep.
Got you. All right, makes sense now. Thank you.
Because it's speculative. They're hoping somebody buys it, right?
Makes sense.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the role of government in real estate. Okay. So you have local government. Okay. Local government handles property taxes, occupational licensing, building permits, building moratoriums, and zoning. That's the local government. The state government handles the coastal management, documentary and tangible taxes. That's the stamps when you buy and sell property. That's the taxes. And federal government handles fiscal and monetary policy and government agencies such as HUD, FHA, VA, EPA, and IRS. So, the Fed is raising and pausing rates. They handle that. Like, that's all their policy, right? They handle that stuff, right? HUD is they handle all the program. These handle the financing. That's the fiscal and the monetary policies. Aiden, what's going on? Okay. Okay. All right, good. You guys have any questions on that? We'll go over more of that in detail a little bit later.
Sounds good.
All right, good. Now you have professional organizations. Okay, now membership is voluntary in these organizations. So not all real estate licensees are realtors. Okay. You can have a real estate license, you're a real estate agent. You're not a realtor unless you're a member of NAR, National Association of Realtors. Okay, so real estate licensees are licensed by the DBPR. That's who you did the license with, the application, right? So real estate license, so you could be a licensee. For example, if you have a real estate license and you're managing a property with 100 units and a $50,000, $500,000 budget, you don't have to be a realtor. You're a licensed agent and you're a property manager, right? Now, if you're a licensed agent and you work for a broker who is part of NAR and part of the MLS, you must be part of NAR and the MLS. Like, you don't have a choice. If the broker is with them, the agent must be with them. That's a rule. Like, for example, my brokerage is with 3 MLSs. I'm with NEFAR up here. I'm with Beaches in Fort Lauderdale all the way down to the Keys. And I'm with Orlando Regional, which goes from Daytona Beach over to Tampa all the way down to Cape Coral. So we have like 90% of the state covered. So when I hire an agent, the agent has to go into one of them by NAR rule. I have no choice because we're in NAR. So the agents must be in NAR.
Okay, but you said you have 3 different MLS, so
For
they
the
would have
brokerage.
so they would have to do all 3.
No, just one. Just one.
Okay.
Yep. Just one. But what's great is I have all 3. So when you're a realtor and you have an MLS, you have access just to that MLS. When you advertise your properties, just that MLS, right? When you send emails to the agents, it's just that MLS. I have 3 MLSs. So when we list the properties, we list them with the co-agent. The agent is the co-agent, and then I can put them in all 3 MLSs. Now everybody sees them. Everybody can search for them. It gets hit 3 times on the internet. And when we reverse search it to all the agents see it. It's not just that one market. So the house I just listed in the Villages, some agent from Miami had it under contract for a year. No showings, no nothing. They had it in the Miami MLS. The Orlando MLS, where it is, nobody saw it. I listed it 40 grand less, put it in the MLS. We have already had 6 showings on it in a week. So you see what I'm saying? You got to know how to market and put things together. And that's just an example. Now that agent is an agent in Beaches. He's an agent in he lives in Naples, but he's in the Beaches MLS. So I put it in the Orlando MLS, made him the co-agent, and now it's everywhere. And now we have showings and everything. It doesn't matter because when you're co-agents, you both get credit for it. It's no big deal. Like on the MLS, as long as when it gets paid, we have our contract. You get paid by our contract. But in the MLS, it's just like that. Okay. So, yep. Go ahead. What's up, Jeff?
So when a real estate agent, someone that holds a real estate license, like we will, works for you as a real estate agent, do they automatically become a realtor, or do they have to do some other?
Remember, you have to join the MLS. Remember I told you about the MLS?
Yes.
Once you join the MLS, you become a realtor because you go through their train. You got to go through the ethics training, and you got to go through. There's 2 classes they have, and once you complete those classes, you are officially a realtor. You cannot say you're a realtor if you're not. You can actually lose your license for that.
But you just said MLS, but are you talking about NAR?
Yes. Yep. Okay. So yeah, let me explain that. So when the way it works, you join a local MLS.
Okay.
Wherever you are. When you join that MLS, their fee, the fee you pay them, includes Florida Realtors for the state and includes NAR. So when you join a local board, you become part of all 3.
No, do it one more time.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you would join Northeast Florida Association of Realtors. When you join,
is that an MLS or?
That's the MLS. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you join that MLS, by joining them in their fee, it includes membership for Florida Realtors and membership for National Association of Realtors. You can't join one and not all three.
Okay.
So, for example, my main MLS is Beaches. I joined Florida Realtors and NAR through Beaches. So when I joined MLS in Jacksonville for my brokerage, I just joined a local MLS. When I joined Orlando Regional, I joined their local because you can't join Florida and NAR twice, right? So you join them with your main MLS, and then if you want to add MLSs later, then you could join just a local one. It's less money, right? Because they're not charging you for Florida and national, right?
Okay.
So when you would join NEFAR, and once you're in NEFAR, you automatically become a Florida realtor. You get your number for them, and your National Association realtor. You get your number for them automatically, and then you have access when you go into the MLS and log in. There's all training for that. Like, don't get overwhelmed. There's training for all that. When you go in, you have access to everything in your login. You have NAR, Florida Realtors, and local all in your login. Okay.
Mm.
But you can't say you're a realtor unless you are. You can lose your license for ethics for that. So not all licensees are realtors. Only people who join the MLS, Florida and NAR. So a realtor is a licensee who is a member of NAR. A multiple listing service. This is where this comes in, like we're talking about. It's a database allowing listing brokers to share property information with potential buyers. And there's a cooperative service. A listing agent pays the buyer broker as of now. There's a bunch of lawsuits going on about that, and that may change. There's some serious lawsuits going on right now. They're actually starting next month. 2 companies already settled. So it may change how buyers agents are paid. And that's a big thing going on. It's too much to talk about now. On YouTube, I have videos about it. I have 2 long videos about it. I'm putting up a couple more as it goes on. But it's a serious thing. It may change the whole way things are done. But as of now, the MLS works that way. Okay. You guys have any questions on that?
No.
Okay, good. So this is the end of chapter 1. Okay, so I'm going to close this out.